Recording.
Nidram ananta jagadanda samomagupah Adhara shaktim avalambya param swamurtim Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Yasya दीपायते विवर्तु हेतु समान धर्मा यस्ताग्रिगे वहि च विष्णुतया विभाति गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि क्षीरं यथा दधि विकार विशेषयोगात् सञ्जायते न हि ततः पृथगस्ति हेतोः यः शम्भुतामपि तथा समुपैति कार्यात् गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि.
So we're at the shlok 18, which is 5.45. Translation: just as milk is transformed into curd by the action of acids, but yet the effect curd is neither same as nor different from its cause, namely milk. So I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, of whom the state of Shambhu is a transformation for the performance of the work of destruction. Okay. So yesterday we quickly saw Kshiram, Dud, Yatha, Dadi is Dahi, Vikar Vishesh Yoga. That's the acid nature by which you transform milk into yogurt. Nahi tata pritagasti heto. So it's separate, but still it's not independent as such. It's transformed, but it exists because the milk exists. So yeh shambhu tam api tata samupeti karyad. So Lord Govind has also has created a transformation in the form of Shambhu or Mahashiv for a specific karya, for a specific performance of work of destruction. Sumit,
The real nature of Shambhu, the presiding deity of Maheshadham, is described. Shambhu is not a second godhead other than Krishna. Those who entertain such discriminating sentiment commit a great offense against the Supreme Lord. The supremacy of Shambhu is subservient to that of Govinda. Hence, they are not really different from each other. The non-distinction is established by the fact that just as milk treated with acid turns into curd, so Godhead becomes a subservient when he himself attains a distinct personality by the addition of a particular element of adulteration. This personality has no independent initiative. The said adulterating principle is considered of a combination of stupefying quality of deluding energy, that quality of non-plenitude of the marginal potency, and a slight degree of the ecstatic cognitive principle of the plenary spiritual potency.
Nisha?
This specifically adulterated reflection of the principle of the subjective portion of the divinity is Sadashiva, in the form of effulgent masculine symbol god Shambhu, from whom Rudradeva is manifested. In the work of mundane creation as the material cause, in the work of preservation by the destruction of sundry asuras, and in the work of destruction to conduct the whole operation. Govinda manifests himself as a Guna Avatara in the form of Shambhu, who is separated portion of Govind, imbued with the principle of its subjective planetary portion. The personality of the destructive principle in the form of time has been identified with that Shambhu by scriptural evidence that have been adduced in the commentary. The purport of the Bhagavad shlokas Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu, etc., is that Shambhu is pursuance of all will of Govinda, of the will of Govinda, works in union with his consort Durga Devi by his own time energy. Hare Krishna.
Ravi?
He teaches pious duties, dharam, as stepping stone to the attainment of the spiritual service in the various tantra, satra, extra, suitable for the jivas in the different grades of the conditional existence. In obedience to the will of Govinda, Shambhu maintains and fosters the religion of pure devotion by preaching the cult of illusionism, Mayavada, and speculative Agama Satra. The 50 attributes of individual souls are manifest in the far vaster measure in Shambhu, and 5 additional attributes not attainable by Jiva are also partly found in him. So Shambhu cannot be called a Jiva. He is the Lord of Jiva, but yet para- partakers partakes of the nature of the separated portion of Govinda.
Very
Hare
good.
Krishna.
Yeah. So last shlok described, how, Durga Devi is the presiding deity of Devilok. Above Devilok, there is a Shambhu Lok. And I think this is describing in more detail how, how Lord Shambhu is essentially a transformation and is not different than Lord Govind. But Lord Govind is taking a specific avatar in the form of Lord Shambhu for a specific region. And then, of course, it says Durga Devi, as we know, Parvati Mata, right, by his own time energy. And then, of course, there are more qualities of Sadashiv Shambhu is described here. So, we can read in more detail, but I think right now the important thing is the Lord Brahmaji is praying to Lord Govind. So, such Lord Govind who has also transformed in the form of Shiv Shambhu for a specific region. Right? So, move on to the next shlok. Any comments? Questions? Yeah.
Yeah, last line samjhe nahi, like
This one?
he is the Lord of Jiva, but
Yeah. So before this last line, right, it says that when Lord Krishna takes avatar of Lord Shambhu, so Lord Krishna has some 64 attributes, right?
right.
And a Jiv is the soul, like all of us, is a Jiv, right? That's what Jiv is referring to. We have 50 attributes. So that we can go in detail, like what are those 50 attributes? So what this is saying is Lord Shiva, okay, has also those 50 attributes, but they are in a far bigger quality, far major quantity in Shambhu. Yeah. So Lord Shambhu has 50 attributes of the souls, like we also have that. But then Lord Shambhu also has 5 additional attributes. There are 5 more attributes which we don't have. Okay, the Jivas don't have. So that is why he's saying that so Shambhu cannot be called a Jiva. Like he is not just a simple Jiv like us, but he is the Lord of Jiva. Like he is our Ishwar. Okay? So that is why we say Ishwar, Sadashiv Bhagwan. Right? but yet partakes the nature of a separated portion of Govinda. So he is our Ishwar, but still he is like a transformation of Lord Govinda in the form of Lord Shambhu. So that is where the example of milk and yogurt. The yogurt is made up of milk, but it says it's not independent. There is a origin of the milk, of the yogurt, which is the milk, but milk exists as its own, for its own reasons.
Yeah.
Right? So then Devilok, then Shambhulok, and then Mahavishnu.
दीपाचिरेव हि दशान्तरमभ्युपेत्य दीपायते विवर्तु हेतु समानधर्मा यस्ताग्रिगेव हि च विष्णुतया विभाति गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि.
So the light of one candle being communicated to other candles, although it burns separately in them, is the same in its quality. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, who exhibits himself equally in the same mobile manner in his various manifestations. Okay. So here now it's an analogy of a light. Like from one lamp, if you lighten another lamp, you have the same properties, right? You'll have the same light, but you created this from another light. So that is how it's saying that Deepar Chirevahi Dashantam Abhu Petya Deepayate Vivrita Hetu Samana Dharma. So from one deep, you are creating another deep, another light, but it has the same dharma, same property. Yastadrigeva hi cha Vishnu taya vibhati. So like this, he takes avatar of Lord Vishnu. Prakashit hote hain as Mahavishnu. So Lord Govind, Mahavishnu ki jaise prakashit hote hain in a Mahavishnu form. Right? So you have Lord Govind, then you have Mahavishnu form. Right? So here the example is from one lamp to another lamp, you have the same qualities. In Lord Shambhu, we said it's a transformation from milk to yogurt. So you may not have all the property of milk. You have 50 attributes plus 5 more. In here, you have, I think, 60 qualities. Okay? So out of total 64. Ravi?
The presiding deities of Haridharma, viz. Hari Narayan, Vishnu, etc., the subjective portions of Krishna have been described. The majestic manifestation of Krishna is Narayan, Lord of Vaikuntha, whose subjective portion is Karanodhyakshay, Vishnu. The prime cause, whose portion is Garbhodakshaya, Krishodakshaya, is again subjective portion of Garbhodakshaya, Vishnu. The word Vishnu indicates all pervading, omnipresent, and omniscient present personality. In this shloka, the activities of the subjective portion of divinity are emanated by the specification of nature of Krishodakshaya, Vishnu. The personality of Vishnu, the embodied form of the manifestive quality Sattva-gun, is quite distinctive from that of Shambhu, who is adulterated with mundane qualities. Vishnu's subjective personality is on a level with that of Govinda. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Nisha?
Both consist of the unadulterated substantive principle, Vishnu in the form of manifest causal principle is identical with Govinda as regards quality. The manifestive quality, sattva guna, that is found to exist in the triple mundane quality is an adulterated entity being alloyed with the qualities of mundane activity and inertia. Brahma is the dislocated portion of the divinity manifested in the principle of mundane action and endowed with the functional nature of his subjective portion, and Shambhu is the dislocated portion of the divinity manifested in the principle of mundane encheria possessing similarly the functional nature of his subjective portion. The reason for their being dislocated portion is that the two principles of mundane action and in inertia being altogether wanting in the spiritual essence, any entities that are manifested in them are located at a great distance from the divinity himself or his facsimiles. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sumit? Sumit? Hare Krishna, Jitendra.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, would you read? So,
Although the just- although the mundane manifestive quality is of the adulterated kind, Vishnu, the manifestation of divinity in the mundane manifestive quality, makes his appearance in the unadulterated manifestive principle, which is a constituent of the mundane manifestive quality. Hence, Vishnu is the full subjective portion and belongs to the category of the superior Ishvars. He is the lord of the deluding potency and not alloyed with her. Vishnu is the agent of Govind's own subjective nature in the form of the prime cause. All the majestic attributes of Govind, aggregating 60 in number, are fully present in his majestic manifestation. Narayan, Brahma, and Shiv are entities adulterated with mundane qualities, though Vishnu is also divine appearance in mundane quality. Gun avatar, still he is not adulterated.
thank you. Sumit? Can you not? Can Nisha pardon?
The appearance of Narayana in the form of Mahavishnu, the appearance of Mahavishnu in the form of Garbhodakasai, and the appearance of Vishnu in the form of uh, Kshirodakasai are examples of the ubiquitous function of the divinity. Vishnu is a god himself, and the two other guna avatars and all other gods are entities possessing authority in the subordination of to him. From the subjective majestic manifestation of the supreme self-luminous Govinda emanate Karnodakasai, Garbhodakasai, Ksharadakasai, and all other derivative subjective divine descents, avatars such as Rama, etc., analogues the communicated light appearing in different candles, shining by the operation of the spiritual potency of Govinda. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So this is, I mean, now we are talking about Mahavishnu, right? So just in a simple way, we all know, right, there's one God, right? And that's why saying Lord Govinda. So from Lord Govinda, right, the first one is, so Mahavishnus, there are three different Ansh. The first one is Mahavishnu, right? And that Mahavishnu is Karano Dakshai Mahavishnu, right? So like we read, very quickly we'll see. So the prime cause, the first, so Lord of the majestic manifestation of Krishna is Narayan, Lord of Vaikuntha. So we read about the Vaikuntha Dham. So in Vaikuntha Dham, the Ansh, subjective portion is the Ansh of Lord Govind is known as Karno Dakshai Vishnu. And from Mahavishnu, Karno Dakshai Vishnu, you have Garbho Dakshai Vishnu. And then from Garbho Dakshai Vishnu, you have the next Ansh, which is known as Kshir Dakshai Vishnu. So you have, from Lord Krishna. But those are, again, I think the simple thing is, for us, they are all the same avatar. And then from Vishnu, we have seen all the avatars, right? Lord Ram, Lord Narsingh Dev, Vaman Dev, and so on, right? We read about 24 or 22 avatars. So this is how it has been described. But what it's saying really is that Lord Vishnu has the same qualities as Lord Govind. Like from one candle to another, it has the Saman Dharma, Vivrit Hetu Saman Dharma, same properties, same qualities. Okay, any comments? Yeah, I mean, for us, it's a little complex, and we don't really have to drill down too much, but it's good to know, it really explains like how this world has been created. I mean, it's not just an imagination, but there are facts behind it, which are very well documented in our Vedas and our spiritual books. And this is none other than Brahm Samhita, right? So Lord Brahmaji, who is in Satyalok, right? He is the presiding deity of the Satya Brahmalok, which is the highest lok in the Devi Dham, is praying to Lord Govinda, and he is describing all the properties of Lord Govinda. Okay, so we have 7 more minutes. Let's cover one more shlok.
यः कारणानवजले भजति स्म योग निद्रम् अनन्तजगदण्डसमो मकूपः आधारशक्तिमवलम्ब्य परां स्वमूर्तिं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि यः कारणानवजले भजति स्म.
So the translation is, I adore the primeval Lord Govind, who, assuming his own great subjective form, who bears the name of Sesh, replete with all accommodating potency, and reposing in the casual ocean with the infinity of the world in the pores of his hair, enjoys creative sleep, Yog Nidra. Right? So this is where describing the Mahavishnu, like we saw 3 Vishnus, right? Karno Dashai, Garbho Dashai, and then Kshirodak Dashai. So this is the Mahavishnu form are described here. Jitendra, padhoge?
The subjective nature of Anant, who has the form of the couch of Mahavishnu, is described. Anant, the same who is the infinite couch on which Mahavishnu reposes, is a distinctive appearance of the divinity bearing the name of Shesh, having the subjective nature of the servant of Krishna.
So they're all the same, one God, Lord Krishna, Lord Govind, and describes how Mahavishnu, I think we have all seen the images of, how in the Yog Nidra mode of Lord Vishnu. So that's what this is described. I think we have 5 more minutes. Shall we do one more shlok?
Yes, we can.
Let's do that.
योग निद्रम् अनन्तजगदण्डसमो मकूपः आधारशक्तिमवलम्ब्य परां स्वमूर्तिं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि.
So the translation is Brahma and other lords of the mundane worlds appearing from the pores of hair of Mahavishnu remain alive as long as the duration of one exhalation of the Mahavishnu. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, of whose subjective personality Mahavishnu is the portion of portion. Okay. So the supreme majesty of the subjective nature of Vishnu is shown here. So the subjective nature of Vishnu, okay, so Vishnu's one exhalation creates this, and they are saying like so many Brahmans. Actually, if we like, it's said that, and we I think heard last time, you know, where Brahma Kinari Deviji on Brij Kinari Deviji from Kripaludham, right? In Vrindavan, we heard on Janmashtami, she said like every minute there are so many Brahmans getting created. Ours is the smallest Brahman, right? And that Brahman, Mahavishnu, his one exhalation creates this whole Brahman. And then we saw like how many years and 64 crore, whatever days and nights of one day of Lord Brahma. So basically it's describing, but it's praying to Lord Govind, whose transformation and whose avatars and whose ansha, everything. Cool. So I think we'll just end here now. Again, 2 minutes left. Let's, any comments, anything? We only have, I think this is shlok number 48. So we still have around 10 to 15 shloks left. I think few more days. So we'll do the meditation on the, again, same Brahm Samhita. We continue from where we left last time.
Govinda Hare Krishna Namaham Bhajami Ananda Chinmaya Rasat Mataya Manashu Yantrani Nampati Param Smarana Mukenya Leelaitena Bhuvanani Jayantya Jashna Govinda Hare Krishna Namaham Bhajami Govinda Hare Krishna Namaham Bhajami Jadam Nitale Chatasya Devi Mahesha Harinama Shute Shuteshu Te Prabhavanchaya Vihitaschayena Govinda Hare Krishna Namaham Bhajami Govinda Hare Krishna Namaham Bhajami Shristi Sthiti Paraya Sadhana Shakti Rekha Chayaiva Yasya Bhuvanani Vivarti Durga Ichchana Rumam Abhyasya Chajeshtate Sa